Coronet paper towels are 2-ply, not 1-ply. And to show you just how strong and absorbent they are, I'm going to turn 2-ply coronet into 1-ply coronet. Watch. Now, if just 1-ply of coronet can absorb that much, that quickly, imagine what 2-plies of coronet can do. And here's what'll really knock your socks off. You can get coronet 2-ply for the price of the leading 1-ply.
Extra value is what you get when you buy coronet.
We start with chicken, sausage, and ham. Sauteed lightly in the frying pan. Simmer with rice in the Creole sauce. That's Denny's jambalaya. Oh my gosh, Denny's American Kitchen. It's a celebration.
New Orleans-style jambalaya. Just one of Denny's 6 new dinners. Come on and try one.
You find Denny's in your town. Cooking
Denny's, we cook the way America eats. Now, any dessert free with our new dinners.
When you were growing up, you learned you were facing a world full of competition. There were so many of you with all the right credentials. To succeed today, you need a way to stand out from the crowd, to make the most of your special kind of music. Introducing Amiga, the computer that gives you undreamed-of creative power. To work faster and more productively. With built-in color graphics no other comes close to. Amiga, the first personal computer to give you a creative edge.
Val's missing baby, and the secret kept from Gary. The lives of Karen and Max shattered if Sumner and Abby have their way. Thursdays on Knots Landing. The women Bobby left behind. The tragedy that will strike again. The devious plans that JR holds for the future. Fridays on Dallas. The jealousy that drove Maggie and Richard to destruction. The powerful old enemy who's out to make Angela pay for the past. Fridays on Falcon Crest. The drama continues on CBS.
On Action 11 News tonight, the story of a Louisville man who was arrested as an Army deserter, but he was never in the Army.
And new recommendations on cutting down prostitution tonight at 11.
Mr. Transmission presents Your Transmission.
So, wale, Mr. Transmission wa Nihon sha no transmission mo naoshite mas. Ja, Herr Transmission arbeitet in allen Deutschen getrieben. Sì, il signor Trasmissione ripara tutte le trasmissioni italiane. Whatever car you drive, Mr. Transmission knows transmission's best.
Check the yellow pages for the Mr. Transmission nearest you.
There's a new name in ultra-small cars, a name that stands for fun. Available exclusively from McDonald's at 55 cents each with any food purchase. McDonald's Fast Max. 4 sporty models for your children. A different car each week. Pull a Fast Mac back once, it hugs the straightaway. More than once, it turns, it spins, it pops, wheelies. Get your hands on the true spirit of ultra-small cars. Fast Max. Then give it to your children.
Chuck Taylor, tonight on Action 11 News 19.
Looking for sweet, great-tasting, 100% pure orange juice? Here's something new to look for. Florida's seal of approval. Your guarantee that no matter how or where it's packaged, it's juice that meets Florida's standards. Standards higher than those of the federal government. So to be sure the juice you pour has everything you're looking for, look for Florida's new seal of approval.
Orange juice smart. Pontiac!
Hey, Joe, look who's here.
Hey, Bob,
hey,
Tony!
Joey.
What's this?
It's my new Sunbird GT. It's turbocharged.
Turbocharged?
Oh, he makes a little money, and now he's a big shot. Nah, it wasn't that much. How much?
Pontiac Sunbird, huh?
Well, what do you think?
Well, I don't know. I'd have to drive it.
Sure you can handle it?
Give me the keys.
We build excitement with Pontiac.
Outdoor cold, indoor heat make winter hands dry as a dead leaf. But Vaseline Intensive Care Lotion has healing strength to smooth away roughness and help give new life to dry hands.
Some people think swabs are all the same, but you know Q-tip swabs are soft and safe, with 50% more cotton at the tip. Q-tip's brand cotton swab, because a swab by any other name is not the same.
Get that front loader on in here! You think an engineer just sits behind a desk? I'll tell you, sometimes it feels like they're doing this job inside my head. You get a headache like that, you want strong medicine. I mean Anacin.
Anacin, 23% more medicine than regular pain relievers. Anacin stops pain fast.
More medicine, no more headache. Just another quiet day on the job.
Anacin, more medicine.
If you visited all the places some nationwide long-distance companies don't serve, you'd be on the road a long time. There are a lot of services you take for granted with AT&T that most companies don't have, like calling from anywhere to anywhere, operator service, and immediate credit for wrong numbers. Looks like most companies still have a long way to go to measure up to AT&T. The more you hear, the better we sound. AT&T, the right choice.
They seem like nothing. And work so well.
What seems like nothing and works so well?
New Playtex Slender Regular tampons, Mom.
That is new.
It's the most comfortable Slender Regular I've ever tried. With a special Playtex plastic applicator. Way more comfortable than cardboard. And the protection I've been looking for.
Try Playtex tampons or Playtex deodorant tampons in new Slender Regular.
Seem like nothing. Work so well.
I'm convinced.
Thinking of selling your home? Well, now may be the perfect time. Interest rates are at their lowest in years, and the Century 21 team has thousands of ready buyers. In fact, the Century 21 team sells more homes than any other. Want to sell your home? Call a Century 21 professional today and ask about a home market evaluation.
Put number one to work for you. Century 21.
Call now and let a Century 21 professional help sell your home.
Thursday, a holdup leaves his son without a father, and TC looking for revenge.
That would be a real mistake.
You are guilty as hell. Can Magnum stop him? Then,
how long has your husband been missing?
A south-of-the-border search sends Simon and Simon for a loop.
Forget O'Shell Mitchell. Who?
And on Knots Landing, Sumner recruits help to control Empire Valley.
And he's young, bright, and very attractive.
What do you got, a blank page in your date book?
Thursday.
Tonight at 11:35, Hawkeye invents a psychotic personality for a visiting psychiatrist to study on MASH. Then it's T.J. Hooker and Cleopatra Jones, both on CBS Late Night, here on WHAS-TV, Stereo 11.
You've set me up. What a ghastly idea.
Sunday, Jessica's cousin has her singing to a dangerous tune on Murder, She Wrote. Then it's
a family weekend
with an uninvited killer.
He was murdered?
Along for the ride. Crazy like a fox. And will romance blind trapper to a costly mistake.
You live by the rules, you die by the rules.
Missing children. Few of them have been kidnapped, and many are middle-class runaways from the American dream. The story tomorrow on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
This is CBS.
On Action 11 News tonight, a Shively man says he'll sue the Army over a case of mistaken identity that landed him in jail. And a rally in Louisville tonight for a Marine who says he was falsely convicted of crimes.
A city task force is recommending ways to reduce neighborhood prostitution. We'll have a live report. Chuck Taylor's forecast. Dave Conrad with sports next on the Action 11 News Night Team.
All too often, man has made claims that haven't stood the test of time. Like this. And this. And this claim from Diet Coke. Because the truth is now there's one Diet Cola that Diet Coke can't beat. It's Diet Pepsi. You see, Diet Pepsi has more real cola taste than Diet Coke. So try it and taste the truth.
Some business people use Bell self-mobility car phones, and some don't. Some stay in constant touch with their clients, their office, with opportunity itself. And some don't. Some people turn wasted drive time into very productive, profitable time. Some don't, which is why they should call Bell South Mobility. All you need to know about mobile communications.
For mutual encouragement and support, meet with others who have had a colostomy, ileostomy, or urostomy. We care. Call 561-5671.
This is WHAS-TV, Stereo 11, Louisville, Kentucky.
Action 11 News Night Team is sponsored in part by Great Financial Federal, your key to financial security.
Action 11 News Night Team with Gary Rodemeyer, Melissa Forsythe, Chuck Taylor's weather, and Dave Conrad with sports.
Good evening. I'm Gary Rodemeyer.
And I'm Melissa Forsythe. A Shively man says the Army arrested him for desertion, even though he's never been in the Army. Ronald Ferguson says he's had years of trouble because someone stole his identity, a fraud the Army has allowed to continue. Night Team's Melissa Swan reports Ferguson has decided to fight in court.
In the early 1970s, Ronald Ferguson was a star running back for Manual High School. He went on to play one season for Iowa State University. After that, Ferguson returned to a job here in Louisville. In 1981, his trouble began. The IRS told Ferguson to start claiming his military benefits or forfeit refunds. That's when Ferguson, the IRS, and the Army discovered someone had enlisted several years earlier claiming to be Ronald Ferguson, with his date of birth, his social security number, and even information about his parents. Ferguson asked the Army to clear up the mistaken identity. Ronald Ferguson now believes nothing was done to clear his name, but it took what he calls a nightmare to find that out. In June, he was driving here at 13th and Chestnut Streets when he was stopped for a simple traffic violation, but he was arrested for forgery and desertion. Apparently, 2 years after Ferguson's request, the Army man went AWOL. It took Ronald and his wife 3.5 days and a set of fingerprints to convince the Army they didn't have their man.
Oh, I got in there and I was with guys who done beat up their wife, done broken stores and robbed, and almost got into a couple fights.
Just like a movie.
Yeah.
You just don't think, something like this would happen to you.
A spokesperson for the Army in Fort Knox says the warrant for desertion has been canceled, but Ferguson says the mess does not end with the Army record.
My name is wanted in 4 other states in the United States for traffic violations, and I was told if I'm ever caught in the state of Missouri, I would be locked up.
The FBI says a case of false identity rarely goes to this extreme, and about all Ferguson can do is battle the system that's still looking for his other self.
The original Ronald Ferguson, either directly or through an attorney, might request that a police agency contact or do a search of its National Crime Information Computer, better known as the NCIC.
But Ferguson's doing more. He's got that attorney and wants the Army and anyone else involved in the confusion to pay.
I think I should be compensated for it, because to me it's a scar on me, mentally to myself. I got to wake up and try to live a life every day and knowing someone else is living a life with me. It's scary.
Melissa Swan, Action 11 News Night Team.
A Louisville Marine who claims he is the victim of mistaken identity sent a tape message tonight to people in this city who are working to overturn his conviction. The tape was played at a Free Lindsey Scott rally tonight at the Manley Community Center. Scott is the black Marine who maintains that he's not guilty of a charge that he raped and tried to kill the wife of another soldier. Scott says new evidence proves in the case that he is innocent.
It has been plainly and explicitly proven that I am not the perpetrator of this crime. Yet, the justice system, which I find myself entwined in, due to political or racial reasons, refuses to release me.
A military review board has heard the evidence and is expected to issue a ruling soon. That decision could free Scott, let the conviction stand, or order a new trial. Scott has been on a hunger strike since October 4th. He's protesting the board's refusal to say when it will make the decision. Scott has been in Leavenworth Prison for more than 2 years.
Plans for a halfway house for federal prisoners in Butchertown has neighbors up in arms. Tonight, residents gathered at the site on East Washington Street to find out more about the proposal. It calls for housing 25 federal prisoners and parolees. Most would have been convicted of economic crimes like auto theft and check forging, but prison officials could not rule out the possibility that those convicted of violent crimes would also stay there. Workers at the Wesley Community Center just up the street are upset.
We have a lot of young children that come and go to and from Wesley House. We have a lot of senior citizens that come and go. And I think as a staff person there, a neighbor, and as a daycare parent, it just doesn't exactly thrill me to death to have the thought of this place down here.
This house was renovated by the Butchertown neighborhood government 5 years ago at considerable expense, and it's a lovely house inside, and I don't understand how 25 people are going to live there except in a dormitory setting, which means that you're going to have to tear up the house.
It seems to me that they would be, in a sense, in an uncontrollable situation with that many people in this small an area.
Alderman Steve Mograve plans to fight the proposal. Residents say they'll meet early next week to map out their opposition to the Bannum plan. The TAP program has drawn plenty of fire since police started cracking down on drunk drivers October 1st. People like William O'Donnell are now having their day in court as some of the first TAP cases are being heard. O'Donnell registered just 1/10 of the legal limit for intoxication. The breathalyzer showed he wasn't legally drunk. His charge was thrown out, but that doesn't dismiss the embarrassment of the arrest, the time in jail, or the publicity. Police say they're trying only to catch drunk drivers, not harass people. Judges say they'll handle each case individually.
I think the approach that will be taken is to make sure that there isn't any other substance involved besides alcohol, for instance, smoking marijuana or taking pills or some other substance that might impair someone's driving ability.
The controversy over TAP continues. Tomorrow, local bar owners will try to persuade the mayor to drop the program, something he has said he will not do.
Some new solutions for the age-old problem of prostitution. That's what a mayoral task force is offering tonight after months of studying that situation in Louisville. Our John McGrath is standing by with a live action cam to fill us in on the details. John?
Gary, I am in the heart of Louisville's porno district, traditionally one of the trouble spots for prostitution in the city. But the task force has found that that problem has spread into the city's neighborhoods. And the solution, they say, may be in putting as much pressure on the customer as is put on the prostitute.
The task force has come up with 11 recommendations, including encouraging the Louisville Times and Courier-Journal to publish the names of the men who solicit prostitutes and then are arrested, that police continue their reverse sting operations, where policewomen pose as prostitutes and then arrest the men who solicit them. This, they say, will give a clear message to the customers of prostitutes in the city's neighborhoods.
This will go a long way in eliminating this neighborhood problem, and that is to let the persons know out on the streets that you know, we're here, and if you come into these neighborhoods, you're going to be arrested.
The task force also recommends encouraging the county attorney to request the maximum penalties for prostitutes convicted for the second time. But all the recommendations don't have to do with punishment. The task force is also recommending working to help prostitutes get out of the business and learn skills that can be used in legal employment. This could be done in a halfway house, they say, to be used to help rehabilitate the prostitutes. Another point that came up during the meeting was that police say they have no evidence that prostitutes are being run out of one area only to begin working in another neighborhood.
Now, the one exception to that rule, according to Public Safety Director Ernie Allen, is male prostitutes who have told the task force members that when the heat is on in one neighborhood, they'll take their customers to this area, the porno district, where they can use the privacy booths in many of the adult movie and bookstores. Now, Allen is recommending the police keep the pressure on these establishments. Mayor Sloan commended the task force for a job well done. He says he'll ask the next mayor to follow those recommendations and to keep the task force on so that they can oversee the police efforts to rid this city of the world's oldest profession. With a live action cam, I'm John McGrath in downtown Louisville.
Still to come, the latest on Penn State's artificial heart patient and on what might have caused yesterday's neurological problems.
And Dr. Dina Dell on a new and some say better eye test.
Townhouse to ranch.
condominium to mansion. To be at home is to be safe, at ease, and at comfort. For most of us, the purchase of a home is the largest and most important investment we are likely to make in a lifetime. When you take the first steps toward owning your first home, or another step toward the home of your dreams, do as generations of Kentuckians have done for over 70 years. Take along the experience and strength of one of Kentucky's leading mortgage lenders. The strength and experience of Great Financial Federal. Make yourself at home.
This portion of Action 11 News Night Team has been sponsored in part by Great Financial Federal, your key to financial security.
Here's to you. A very special meal for a very special price. From Chi-Chi's. For a limited time, save $1 on Chi-Chi's special dinner. Not just an ordinary dinner, a combination of your favorites. Chi-Chi's fresh, homemade chips and salsa, plus our special dinner. A crispy taco, Spanish rice, refried beans, cheesy enchilada, flaky taquito, all for only $5.95. Incredible Chi-Chi's. Save $1 on our special dinner.
We're for you.
Peter, come see what I bought you.
Not coming out. Got my allergies. And this miserable sore nose.
Oh, you old poo. That's why I bought you Puffs.
Puffs? Well, we've used these for years.
And look how sore your nose is. Puffs are softer.
Oh, well, they are softer.
Puffs are puffed to be softer. They're thicker.
Things like old times.
Better.
Puffs, softly scented or unscented, the softer way to blow.
In New York tonight, a United Nations reception that saw an example of full-dress cocktail diplomacy between the superpowers, the principals, President Reagan and entourage, and the Soviet Foreign Minister, Eduard Shevardnadze. And after the handshakes and the smiles came an announcement that Reagan and Shevardnadze will meet tomorrow afternoon in New York. It's apparently an American initiative to get some momentum toward U.S.-Soviet cooperation. Reagan addresses the United Nations tomorrow morning. His speech is expected to set up a framework for that cooperation. Reagan's talk with the Soviet leader tomorrow may be a response to the Soviet arms reduction proposals. The Soviet leader, Mikhail Gorbachev, proposed a 50% reduction in nuclear missiles during his recent visit to Paris. Incidentally, WHAS-TV will carry the president's address tomorrow morning at the United Nations at approximately 10:45 a.m.
Doctors tonight say the first man with the Penn State artificial heart is remarkably improved. Anthony Mandia is awake and alert with no periods of stupor after yesterday's crisis. Now doctors will watch him and wait for a human heart. Gene West has more on Mandia's problems.
Early Tuesday, Mandia began to drift in and out of a near coma. He was in a stupor and would only respond to painful stimuli. A brainwave test showed Mandia had depressed brain activity but found no evidence of a stroke. Doctors that performed the implant say the problems could be related to other reasons than the new heart. Dr. Layman Gray at Jewish Hospital says a previous medical problem could be the reason for the vasospasms.
It's a complicated matter because, from what I understand, he did have a gunshot wound to the head at once, and the amount of Dilantin and other drugs that he's on for that may be varied from different metabolism that he has now and could really be causing vasospasms. So it's really hard to tell right now.
Gray has worked with Dr. William Pierce, Mandia's surgeon, on another heart project, the ventricular assist device. Gray has expressed an interest in using the Penn State heart at Jewish Hospital. Gene West, Action 11 News Night Team.
All of us remember taking an eye test by reading letters off a chart on the wall, but now there are better ways of testing vision. Dr. Tina Dell says they test how you see under normal circumstances.
We live in an era full of the miracles of modern medical diagnosis. As soon as one high-tech diagnostic marvel comes on the market, a new one is chasing it into obsolescence. And yet, there's one test, probably the most common medical test there is, all of you have had it, that was invented in 1862, and it hasn't changed since. It's the Snellen eye chart. But now we're finding that you can see 20/20 on a Snellen chart and yet not see well enough to drive safely. You can see 20/20, for instance, and have cataracts, glaucoma, lazy eye, multiple sclerosis, or poorly fitting contacts. The reason? The Snellen tests only your ability to see small black letters on a brightly lit white background. In other words, high contrast. But the real world is a world of low contrast, a world of fog and poor visibility. We need a better and more sensitive eye chart. Well, it was United States Air Force research that was investigating vision in astronauts and pilots that led to an answer. This is the result, the Vision Contrast Test System. It's more sensitive than the Snellen test and will pick up many eye problems while you're still testing 20/20 on the old E-chart. It's a series of lines that get lighter and lighter as you go from left to right. The lines are either vertical, leaning to the left, or leaning to the right. Then you follow it along until you reach a point where you can't see any lines anymore. And take my word for it, these two right here actually have lines in them. The other advantage of this, by the way, is you don't have to speak English or even know how to read, so it'll be great for
Cash in on these two great savings this week at Levy's. GeoCell exterior caulking sealant bonds to almost any surface. In clear white and brown, sale price $3.49, but with a $1.50 rebate, you pay $1.99. And there's never been a door like the Forever Door by Emco. It's the finest insulating door available, guaranteed to last. Regular $226.99, on sale for $169.99.
Which corn herbicide works best with reduced tillage? Forget conflicting claims. Start with what you know. You know reduced tillage could increase weed pressure. So, you need dependable annual grass control. You know that means Corporation, and that means Sutam Plus. Sutam Plus moves through the soil to fill gaps in coverage. Incorporated in one thorough trip, it gives the most dependable annual grass control and reduced tillage. Hats off to Sutam Plus. You know it works.
Gigantic discounts, better service, millions of dollars of inventory have made Tom Raper, Richmond, Indiana, #1. Hundreds of new and used motorhomes, vans, travel trailers, park models, fifth wheels, tent campers, truck campers, truck caps $99, mobile homes $89.95, sectional $16,995, huge parts store. Save today the Tom Raper way. I-70 to exit 149A, south 1 mile to Tom Raper, Richmond, Indiana. Open till 8 Saturday to 5, closed Sunday.
Classical Splash at Snyder's. Coal of California. Bill Blass. Ralph Lauren. Catalina. Robbie Lynn. Snyder's.
Mr. Travel is a Chicago travel agency that advertises in Louisville. Lynn Hoffman and Mary Pat Boone are two local consumers who have complained to troubleshooter Dick Irby about the company.
Complained about a lot of money. Lynn Hoffman paid Mr. Travel $1,200, then had to cancel her trip to Hawaii because the company never confirmed her reservations. Mr. Travel made a $1,077 refund and promised more later when a hotel in Hawaii returned Ms. Hoffman's room deposit. Ms. Hoffman wrote me, though, because 7 months had passed and she had not received the rest of her money. Mr. Travel officials told me they still had not been reimbursed by the Hawaiian hotel, but because of all the problems Ms. Hoffman ran into, the company issued an additional $208 refund to her to settle up. Mary Pat Boone's Mr. Travel trouble involved $6,000 and 18 other people. Last August, Mrs. Boone made Las Vegas reservations for 19 people. After paying for the trip, Mr. Travel raised the price. Then Continental Airlines went bankrupt. Then Mr. Travel raised its price again. 5 months later, Mr. Travel still had not arranged an acceptable trip for the group, and it refused to make a refund. But after I contacted the company, it reconsidered. Mr. Travel issued, and this may be a troubleshooter record, a $6,171 refund. After keeping the money for 7 months, the company apologized for the confusion and inconvenience that Mrs. Boone's group had experienced. The troubleshooter will take a look at your problem if you'll write. It's Post Office Box 32970.
The troubleshooter to the rescue again. Thanks, Dick. The New York presidential primary is shaping into a close battle between Gary Hart and Walter Mondale. The latest polls show Mondale still leading, with Hart closing fast. About one-third of New York State's 3.5 million Democrats were expected to vote. Hart, Mondale, and Jesse Jackson met a few of them this morning while campaigning in New York City. 252 convention delegates are at stake in the primary. With all the scandal that traditionally plagues government, Wave TV's Dave Nakdeman says there still are some dedicated public servants, but even they are sometimes exposed to unfavorable scrutiny, and he observes in tonight's Nakdeman's opinion.
There's always a big investigation of somebody going on in Washington, so many you forget who gets nailed and who gets cleared. The latest is Attorney General-designate Ed Meese. Despite a bad memory for figures, the poor fellow hasn't been convicted of anything yet, but the Democrats made him the big villain of a TV commercial about a new Watergate. In Kentucky, Russ McClure faces charges he did something no self-respecting lobbyist would ever consider: offer a legislator re-election help in exchange for a vote. Sonny Hunt got out of prison last week. Michael Donio did not. Grady Stumbo is being investigated by the Registry of Election Finance. The agency thinks the financing of his campaign for governor was a bit too creative. If true, it makes you wonder what Grady would have done with the state budget. In Louisville, ferreting out possible political peccadillos has been a bit tough lately. Of course, there are the two aides of County Judge Mitch McConnell, who must cringe every time they see that TV spot about the Miami beaches. It said they consider working for the county such a hoot, they rarely, if ever, have taken a vacation in the past 5 years. As a result, they've accumulated 1,600 hours, or 45 weeks of time off, vacation days, or comp time not taken. They're using it to work full-time in McConnell's Senate campaign while staying on the county payroll. Is this a job for an impartial investigating committee headed by Commissioner Jim Malone, or is it a rebuttal to those who say government employees don't work much? An aide to Senator Walter Huddleston, a Democrat with the job McConnell wants, says Senate folks don't have the luxury of comp time, but he admitted some staffers will be delighted to spend their vacations on the boss's campaign. In any event, the least the judge could do is to get each of his workaholics a sun lamp and a copy of Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. That's my opinion. I'm Dave Nakdeman.
Don Schroeder is live at Louisville's command post. He'll have a report on what the 74 tornadoes did to Perry County, Indiana.
Every morning, someone you know is up in time to make you biscuits for breakfast. Delicious buttermilk biscuits, made fresh, right here at McDonald's. We bake them up hot and fluffy, serve them with country ham or pork sausage, and top them off with a fresh egg if you like. Come on and try them. They're so fresh, so delicious, and so close to home.
Fresh made biscuits, McDonald's and you.
Kroger's always coming up with new ways to save me money. They're usually the first store to pass savings on to us, and I really appreciate that.
Kroger sliced white sandwich bread, 20-ounce loaves, 3 for $1. Mountain Dew, diet or regular Pepsi free, diet or regular Pepsi. 8 16-ounce bottles, $1.69 plus deposit. And Wisconsin russet potatoes, 20-pound bag, $2.88.
You see, overall, you really can depend on Kroger for the best of everything, including the price.
Southern Optical asks, how important is the right eyewear? You can't put your best foot forward in attire that's not right for the occasion. At Southern Optical, we'll help you find eyewear that fits the fashion and the function to make things you like to do more comfortable and more enjoyable. So take a step in the right direction in eyewear that brings out the best in you. Hurry on over to Southern Optical, your real value in better vision.
Remove layers of paint and varnish quickly and easily with the Norton Paint Remover Kit. Works on any surface. No odor, no mess, no scraping. Regular price $10.99. Now on sale for $8.99. You save $2. And let Deft make your wood furniture beautiful. Deft wood stains come in all colors and will stain and finish any kind of wood. Regular $3.79. On sale for just $2.99.
I'm at the Office of Civil Preparedness in downtown Louisville at City Hall, and this is where today they are simulating the day of tornadoes just like we had 10 years ago today. This map illustrates clearly the tornado path of 10 years ago today, but of course, rivers, like the Ohio River, they have nothing to do with stopping tornadoes or helping them along, and today is a grim anniversary on the other side of this river, up in Indiana today. 10 years ago today, 18 tornadoes blitzed the Hoosier State,
causing about 50 deaths, injuring more than 1,500 people. Property damage there exceeded $200 million. 39 Indiana counties were declared disaster areas. Loretta Harris has a report from Crawford County.
That crazy thing was on the ground. It got on the ground and stayed on the ground. It went up the big hills and down the other side.
Newspaper photographer John Combs remembers the path it took.
Well, it was just total devastation for about a half-mile strip just through the whole county, and it was on the ground every speck of the way through the county.
The pictures Combs showed me belonged to surveyors. His were destroyed when the '79 flood ruined much of the contents of this newspaper office located in downtown English. He remembers also the baseball-sized hail that came with the storm. Some of the stones are shown in the bowl in this picture. Damage in Crawford County totaled more than $1 million. In Riddle, several miles from English, Joan Ritchie and her husband experienced firsthand some of the devastation when it wiped out their $11,000 chicken house.
It just completely tore the roof off and peeled it back. And then everything inside, of course, was thrown and tossed and pulled out. It was just a big level spot there with debris around.
Fortunately, the chickens had been shipped away. The Ritchies were lucky in another way, able to salvage concrete blocks and much of the building's equipment. It left Mrs. Ritchie's husband so concerned that he built this storm cellar, no longer in use, but still a reminder of the 1974 tornado. In Riddle, Indiana, Loretta Harris, Wave TV News.
We're going to talk more about what is happening here in downtown Louisville. As we well know, the Kentucky set up an early warning network after the '74 tornadoes, but how prepared is Indiana should the unthinkable storms happen again? Lorraine Ralph checked in New Albany.
Floyd County Civil Defense to Jefferson County Civil Defense. Do you have a copy, sir?
The key to making the tornado warnings work is communication. Southern Indiana officials say they have better communications now than ever. They can keep in touch with each other in the event of a tornado warning from the Weather Service or from a volunteer spotter on the CB radio.
402, you'll be en route.
Primary communications will be handled here for Floyd County at the police and fire dispatch radio. They can cut into local cable TV to alert viewers of danger, but there's not enough money for a tornado siren.
We had the alert systems around different places in town, like our Kentucky's got. That might, alert more people.
The southern Indiana counties don't have a specific tornado warning siren. If a tornado is sighted, then firehouses like this one in New Albany will sound their sirens intermittently. But no one here is sure how many people will get the message.
If they just had a siren on a pole, there's no way of relating what has happened and what these people are to do. Because at the time of a disaster, these people are totally lost.
Do you think the tornado warning system here is adequate?
No, it's not. It's not adequate at all.
I'm not sure that I would hear the siren. I'm a sound sleeper at night.
Southern Indiana officials say they're doing the best they can, and they're counting on most people getting the word before it's too late. In New Albany, Lorraine Routh, Wave TV News.
One of the best warning systems is on in your house right now, and that, of course, is your television set. It'll keep you informed in the event of a tornado watch or a tornado warning. Portable radio, of course, a very good idea if you are away from the house or even if you're in the house. Bob Cusick is with us, and Bob is the director of Louisville and Jefferson County Civil Preparedness. And Bob, you have this room now, didn't have it 10 years ago. Besides this, what do we have in Jefferson County that we didn't have 10 years ago? What can this room do for us?
Well, of course, you ask what do we have now we didn't have 10 years ago. We have 24 more outdoor sirens than we had 10 years ago. And this room in here is a communications and coordination center. We have a big redundancy of different communications from amateur radio through the Q's system down to Frankfurt.
Right now we have a tornado watch way out west of here right now. Are you using this at all in your simulation drill today? Is this an on-the-spot thing?
No, we're running two at once. We're running the exercise, and yes, we do have a tornado watch. It includes western Kentucky right now, and Illinois, and Mississippi, and western Indiana.
So somebody would be in this room anyway today, wouldn't they?
Once this watch came on, somebody would already be here. That's right.
One last quick question, Bob. I know you're involved in this business heavily. If there's one thing that we lack here in Jefferson County that would really help us, in your opinion at least, what would you like to see us have?
You mean in the way of equipment? Right. No, I think we've got all we need, except you can always put out more sirens. But today in the electronics,
The radio, particularly the NOAA weather radio, Radio Alert, is the best warning that people can have.
You feel prepared then?
I do.
Thank you, Bob, for letting us kind of take over your room at times.
That's all right.
Okay, thank you very much. Wave TV has put together a packet that could help you and your family should a tornado strike again. Now, the packet includes a sticker, a tornado safe spot sticker, that you can put in the house, in the spot in your house that you determine will be the safest spot against a tornado. What you need to do is send us a self-addressed stamped business-size envelope and send it to Severe Weather Guide, Wave TV, Post Office Box 32970 in Louisville. Our zip code, 40232. And what we'll do, besides the stickers, we will also be sending you some tips on how you can be prepared and your family the next time we do have a tornado warning. Let's go back to Christy.
Thank you, Dad. Bob Dominy is recovering from Seattle's battle, so Barry Katz is up next with all the sports, including a look at the hardcore push for next year's NCAA ticket.
If you'd like to put an end to conversations on whether to rent your phones or buy them, come. Come to the GTE Phone Mart, and we'll tell you all about renting versus buying. Like how if you rent our basic models, you can get them repaired at the Phone Mart at no extra charge. Remember, at GTE we also sell a whole range of products and services to make your life simpler. Thank you.
Come to the GTE Phone Mart.
Levi's presents Longhorn World Championship Rodeo.
This is my first rodeo. I'll come again.
It's not my first, but it's far and away the best.
I think it's great.
Money very well spent. Longhorn Rodeo, 4 years in a row, America's very best rodeo production, sanctioned for World Championship points in Broadbent Arena this Friday through Sunday. Friday is bargain night, all seats $6. Saturday, free cowboy hat, first 500 kids. Sunday, kids and senior citizens, half price.
This is Tom Wills. The April 3rd, 1974 tornado outbreak produced a record 148 tornadoes over a time span of just over 16 hours. Tornadoes were on the ground 2,598 miles. There were over 300 deaths and about 5,500 injuries. At the height of the outbreak, 15 twisters were on the ground at the same time. If we're going to see an anniversary thunderstorm here, it'll be about midnight or later. Mild this evening, then mild again tomorrow with some more showers likely. Temperatures should stay in the 50s through the day.
At 39, I was overweight and tired of it. I had to make a choice. Go on yet another diet or get serious about losing weight. I got serious. I chose Nutrisystem. They put me on a total weight loss program. They taught me how to eat sensibly and deliciously with New System cuisine, exclusive at Nutrisystem. I lost 22 pounds and kept it off. I made the right choice. Nutrisystem.
Call now, 50% off this week. The best things in life are the ones that need no dressing up. They're absolutely delicious just the way they are, plain. Like the smoked sausage made by Eckrich. Eckrich uses selected cuts of meat, so the taste needs no embellishment. You can put Eckrich smoked sausage into stews and casseroles, but when something is this delicious in its pure state, you don't have to. Eckrich smoked sausage. So good, you can eat it plain.
The history books are just now closing in on this year's college basketball season, but that's not stopping thousands from making plans for the 1985 Final Four. Next year's tournament is being held in Lexington, and ticket orders must be postmarked with today's date. The post office says it was slam dunk with envelopes beginning at midnight. If you haven't sent yours in yet, remember ticket orders must include a self-addressed envelope and be mailed to the 1985 NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Championship, P.O. Box 1985B, Lexington, Kentucky 40593. And Barry Katz has reaction to Georgetown's win this year.
If you are a coach for a college basketball team, it's got to be a little uneasy because all the Georgetown players, practically all of them, will be back for next year, so it looks like they'll be back in the finals. Tonight's sports is brought to you by 84 WHAS Radio, the radio voice of the Cards and the Cats. 2 years ago, Georgetown lost to North Carolina in the NCAA title game. Since then, Coach John Thompson added a few players, and that seemed to do it. The Hoyas beat Houston to win the NCAA championship. How does it feel to win it all?
I feel extremely elated. I think winning the national championship is a very important thing. There have been several times I've had an obsession about winning the national championship. I've been asleep during the summertime and woken up and almost been saying national championship, you know, and I feel it's a monkey off my back.
I feel very good. Anytime you accomplish your goals, you know, you'll feel good. You know, I just think it's a beautiful feeling. I'm glad for my teammates and for the coaching staff and for Miss Finland, who's a big part of the team. You know, I'm just in a very good mood right now.
The title means a lot to me because, you know, being a freshman, coming into a program like Georgetown, which is a great program, it's a new experience for me, you know, so I feel very good about it.
Georgetown's got a great ball club. They're quick. They pick up the slack. If one man loses his man, another guy jumps out and helps out as well as any team I've seen. So I'm not sure what their strategy was or where the men were coming from, but they did a good job of covering up the game.
Hoya paranoia, no Hoya paranoia. We had to work extremely hard, and if Hoya paranoia makes us the way we are, somebody else better catch it.
A reminder to catch The Wave, the Wildcats home party, to be aired on Wave TV3 tonight. After the news at 11:30, Bob Dominy will be on hand for the festivities in Lexington. In Major League Baseball, the Cubs visited Candlestick Park to open the season in San Francisco. The pregame festivities were something else. It was showtime. The rock group Huey Lewis and the News sang the Star-Spangled Banner, and the Giant fans went nuts. Balloons, fireworks, horses. San Francisco had it all on opening day. Started out well for the Giants, too. First inning base hit Manny Trio off Dick Ruthven. Johnny LeMaster scores 1-0 Giants. But Chicago was cubbing on strong. Cubs tie the score in the fourth. Sixth inning, Keith Moreland, bang, zoom, deep to left. See you later, home run. The kids and the bleachers get a souvenir. 2-1 Chicago. And with the score tied at 2 in the seventh inning, Mark Davis still pitching. Jody Davis hits one deep to right center field. 2-run score, 4-2 Chicago. It is now in the bottom of the eighth inning, and the Cubs are still in front, 4-2. And other games in the National League, St. Louis is leading Los Angeles 7-3 in the eighth inning. Fernando Valenzuela has been chased early in that game. And in the American League, Kansas City beat New York, score 4-2. Victories were seldom last season for the Reds, so Cincinnati went shopping. Two key players were obtained, ex-Pirate Dave Parker and former Red Expo Red Sox Philly Tony Perez. And new manager Vern Rapp is happy they are on his side.
They've been very, very great this spring. You know, they've totally involved, very intense, and they've got the bats that should provide us with a lot of RBIs and power, and take a little load off the other guys, and maybe their bats will wake up like they used 2 years ago.
What will be a successful season for you?
Successful season for me as a manager is that my team goes out every day, plays with total intensity as hard as they can. You know, we're human beings. We're going to make mistakes, and we're going to make errors and make mental errors. That's part of being human. But if they can play hard every day that we go out and give their best and then walk away and come back and do the same thing for 162 games, I'll take my chances.
Eddie Milner looked pretty good, too. And tonight's sports was brought to you by 84 WHAS Radio, the radio voice of the Caps and the Cards.
I used about me. Interesting. It was
and television movie the day after.
I hope I see it on the
shirt.
Capital Popcorn. Each case contains 24 11-pound bags for a total of...
Oh, come on, I got...
Porter, not a full-time meteorologist.
High pressure situated over the southern
the only station with a round-the-clock local news team.
Listed in stable condition at University Hospital.
All this plus great music, from oldies to today's top hits. 84 WHAS.
And a couple of reasons
you need to get everything you want.
What's for dinner? Frozen pizza!
Some people don't expect much from frozen pizza. They haven't tried Tony's Italian pastry pizza. Tony's has an Italian pastry crust you can't get anywhere else. It's light and flaky, like fine Italian pastry. Next time, try Tony's Italian pastry pizza. No other pizza has the crust to compare itself to Tony's.
Go Krogering for USDA choice grain-fed beef. Backed by a 3-way guarantee. Guaranteed to be fresh, tender, and full of hearty flavor, or your money back. Kroger USDA Choice grain-fed beef. For the better choice, go Krogering.
Whole boneless ribeyes, 10 to 12 pound average, $3.37 a pound, sliced free. And besides beef, we have whole semi-boneless ham, 99 cents a pound.
The Shell Oil Company announces its new gold standard in gasoline. New SU-2000 Super Unleaded Gasoline. So unique, it's patented. SU-2000 is designed to reduce critical intake deposits that may be causing engine knock. It helps keep your engine clean mile after mile. New SU-2000, a gasoline designed for the way you drive today and tomorrow. High-octane SU-2000. Shell's new gold standard in gasoline.
If you've been thinking about buying a house, you'll probably be interested in a government agency report. According to the Federal Trade Commission, real estate agents charge too much to sell homes. As Carol Grady reports, that has drawn mixed reaction from local realtors.
Ross Fouché hopes to sell this house. That's how he makes his living. But unlike most agents, Fouché won't get a percentage of the selling price.